Somewhere along the way, you learn that people who cry easily are weak. Psychology disagrees completely. Tears that come fast are not a broken filter. They are often a sign of a highly sensitive nervous system doing its job. Research puts highly sensitive people at roughly 1 in 5 of us. So if your eyes fill up during movies, arguments, even good news, you are not fragile. Your system just runs deeper. And that changes everything about how you read yourself. So let's talk about the thing nobody warns you about. Crying at a phone advert, tearing up in a meeting you didn't plan to feel anything in. Then the quiet worry after. What's wrong with me? The answer psychology offers is shorter than you'd think. Nothing. The part almost nobody explains. Your body makes 3 kinds of tears, and only one of them is emotional. Those emotional tears are the ones scientists find most interesting. Early research suggests they may help your nervous system shift out of stress mode, like a pressure valve. That is why a good cry can leave you strangely calm. So crying easily is not the problem. Not knowing what your tears are doing for you is. By the end of this video, you will have one small step to work with them instead of against them. And one part genuinely surprises people. The calm doesn't arrive when you'd expect. First, let's look at a strange little trick you can try today. The next time your eyes fill up, name the tear. Sounds odd. Stay with it. Your body makes 3 kinds, and they're not the same. Basal tears keep your eyes from drying out. Background maintenance, always running. Reflex tears show up for onions, dust, a poke in the eye. And then there are emotional tears, the ones that arrive with feeling. Only that third kind is about your inner world. So here's the micro step, and it's tiny. When the wave rises, silently label it. This is an emotional tear. That's it. 4 words in your head. It sounds too small to matter. It isn't. Psychologists call this affect labeling, naming a feeling as it happens. Matthew Lieberman's team at UCLA found something neat about this. Putting a feeling into words calms the brain's alarm center. The shorthand version, name it to tame it. You're not stopping the tears here. You're just no longer ambushed by them. A small label puts a sliver of space between you and the wave. And in that sliver of space, your system gets a beat to catch up. That beat is the difference between drowning in a feeling and simply noticing it. And noticing is where every bit of steadiness starts. One tiny word, and the whole thing feels less like a malfunction. That's your quick win, banked before we go deeper. If this sounds like your particular wiring, subscribing keeps this kind of thing coming. And a thumbs up quietly tells the algorithm that gentle explanations deserve a bigger room. Secondly, let's look at why your tears come so fast. This is where sensitivity comes in, and it has a name. Psychologist Elaine Aron gave the trait its label, the highly sensitive person. Her estimate lands around 15 to 20% of us, roughly 1 in 5. The scientific term is sensory processing sensitivity. Say that at a party and watch eyes glaze over. In plain language, it means your system processes everything more deeply. Sounds, moods in a room, small shifts nobody else clocks. Not more weakly, more deeply. Tears are simply the visible end of that deeper processing. Think of it like a graphics setting. Most people run life on medium. A highly sensitive system runs on ultra. Every texture loaded, every detail rendered. The picture is richer. The system also works harder to hold it. So of course, feeling spills over sooner. It's not a weaker signal. It's a higher resolution one. The reframe worth keeping. This isn't a system that's failing. It's a system built to register more. Here's the micro step. When you catch yourself welling up, try one line. My system just runs at higher resolution. It's a small relabel, but it swaps shame for something closer to accuracy. And accuracy is a lot easier to carry around all day. Third, let's look at what a good cry actually does. This is the part that's still being debated. You'd assume the calm hits the moment the tears start. Often, it doesn't. Some research points to crying running in 2 phases. First, your body seems to ramp up. Heart rate climbs, breathing changes, everything tenses. That looks like the sympathetic branch of your nervous system firing. It's one reason mid-cry can feel worse, not better. Some studies then find a second phase. The parasympathetic branch, the rest and recover side, appears to follow. Here's the honest part. Any calm tends to show up more after the tears stop than during them. The exact timing isn't settled, so a good cry can sometimes leave you steadier, but the evidence on timing is still thin. This channel once walked through resetting a stuck nervous system with tiny physical cues. Same principle here. The body settles on a runway, not a cliff. So here's the micro step. Don't judge the cry by how you feel in the middle of it. Give it a few minutes on the other side. That drained, heavy feeling right after isn't failure. It's your body coming back down to baseline. Rate the cry from the calmer shore, not from inside the wave. It's a small shift in timing that changes the whole story you tell about crying. Fourth, here's the part that quietly changes everything. Who's around? Because crying doesn't work the same way for everyone, every time. Researchers at the University of South Florida and Tilburg University studied this closely. The team included longtime crying researcher Ad Vingerhoots. Together, they studied thousands of real crying episodes. The finding, the benefit depends heavily on the what, where, and when. Most people felt better afterward, but a third felt no change, and a small group felt worse. One of the biggest factors wasn't the tears themselves. It was whether someone kind was there. Psychologists split this into two effects: self-soothing, the calm your own body generates, and social soothing, the comfort another person adds. Crying alone into the void often does the least for your mood. It's the same tears, but only half the mechanism is switched on. So here's the micro step. When you can, don't cry entirely alone. One text to a safe person counts. A quiet presence in the room counts. You're not being needy by wanting that. You're switching on the half of the system that does the heavy lifting. One text can move a cry from lonely to shared. Emotional tears may even be a signal for connection, not just a release. Answering that signal is emotional regulation in its simplest form. And finally, the quiet reframe that sticks. Everything so far points at one shift. Emotional regulation was never about crying less. It's about working with the system instead of fighting it. Fighting it has a cost. Clamping down on tears takes real effort, and that effort has to come from somewhere. Suppression doesn't make the feeling smaller. It just moves the bill to later. So the sticky micro step is the smallest of all. Next time the tears come and it's safe to let them, drop the fight. Try one line. This is my nervous system doing its job, not failing at it. That's the whole reframe. You stop spending energy on a battle you were never meant to win, and that spare energy goes somewhere far better. People who cry easily aren't carrying a defect. They're carrying a system that feels in high definition. And once you stop treating that as a problem, it slowly stops running you. So if a small cry ever caught you off guard this week, drop it in the comments. The club collects the quiet wins too. Here's the one to carry out the door. Your tears were never proof that something's broken. They're proof that something's working, often a little louder than average. Learn what they're doing. Give them a few minutes and a safe pair of ears, and they turn from an ambush into plain information. That's a system worth understanding and quietly worth keeping. Until the next one, be gentle with your nervous system. Micro Wins Club. Small steps towards real change.